The Ferdinand, later known as the Elefant tank destroyer, stands out as one of the most unique designs emerging from the Second World War, though its legacy is often marred by perceptions of failure. It is viewed by many as Hitler's absurd conclusion to his obsession with heavy tanks and superweapons. But why did the tank prove to be such a disaster, and if it was a complete failure, why were so many constructed? The story unfolds in 1941, when Hitler came to the realization that German tanks, despite their prior successes in the war, were not as formidable as some of the tanks they encountered on the battlefield. To address this issue, Hitler made the decision that Germany required a new and improved heavy tank. This, in turn, influenced the specifications for the breakthrough tank, demanding increased armor and a larger gun. German manufacturers, Porsche and Henschel, responded by enhancing their respective designs to meet these requirements. Porsche's design was undeniably audacious. Weighing a remarkable 60 tons, it was powered by two Porsche Type 101 engines. Each engine operated a separate generator that powered two electric motors, one for each track, connected to the rear drive sprocket. All of this added up to the tank being substantially heavier than the 54-ton Henschel variant. Additionally, the engines required high-quality copper parts, which were challenging to obtain in blockaded Germany. The situation was further complicated by the fact that these engines had never been employed in tanks before, leading to imperfect technology and adding to the tank's challenges. The competition was exceedingly one-sided, as the Porsche design's engine suffered a disastrous failure, bursting into flames early in the trial, due to its inability to handle the tank's extreme weight. With a sense of optimism, Porsche proceeded to manufacture the Tiger hulls, before the official announcement of the winning design. Regrettably, this decision turned out to be unwise, as it was Henschel's design that emerged victorious, ultimately giving rise to the legendary Tiger tank. In September 1942, faced with 100 idle heavy tank hulls, a decision was made to repurpose them into heavy tank destroyers, instead of scrapping or leaving them to rust. The new tank destroyer was named Ferdinand, after its designer Ferdinand Porsche. The Ferdinand was mounted with Germany's newly developed 88mm POC 43 gun. This formidable anti-tank gun was one of the most powerful of its time, capable of effectively engaging even the latest Allied tanks, until the very end of the war. The 88mm gun would be housed in a fixed casemate, located at the rear of the hull. The transformation of 90 turreted heavy tanks into casemate tank destroyers was accomplished at the Nibelungenwerk facility in Austria. This was complete by the end of May 1943. The front of the casemate boasted a thickness of 200mm, providing substantial protection. This made the frontal armor twice as thick as that of the Tiger I tank. The sides and rear of the entire vehicle had a thickness of 80mm. Notably, all sides of the casemate were slightly angled, further enhancing the vehicle's defensive capabilities. All of this contributed to the Ferdinand's weight increasing significantly to 65 tons. The Ferdinand made its combat debut during Operation Citadel, which marked the beginning of the Battle of Kursk. This offensive served as a true trial by fire for the Ferdinand. All 90 vehicles were involved, and played a crucial role in the offensive, enduring substantial enemy fire as they absorbed a significant amount of attacks. However, they were misused as a direct assault weapon and suffered heavy losses. They were frequently employed as mobile fortresses to assault entrenched Soviet positions. Though their exceptional armor allowed them to withstand direct fire with minimal losses, they were vulnerable to Soviet mines, which proved to be a significant threat, resulting in the loss of many Ferdinands. Similar to other heavy German vehicles, the Ferdinands faced mechanical challenges that hindered their performance. Moreover, their immense weight made them impractical for the local roads and bridges, further complicating their deployment. Many Ferdinands experienced disabled tracks and idler arms, rendering them immobile. Additionally, the impact from mine explosions inflicted damage upon the vehicle's two batteries, which were inadequately mounted in the hull without anti-shock measures. The Ferdinand's engines were underpowered for its weight, resulting in frequent overheating and engine fires. Some accounts suggest that certain Ferdinands struggled to climb hills in order to reach advantageous firing positions. Additionally, lacking self-defense weapons, some crews resorted to opening the main gun breech and firing an MG-34 machine gun through the barrel of the 88mm gun. According to apocryphal reports, Soviet infantry allegedly exploited the Ferdinand's vulnerability by concealing themselves in trenches until the vehicle passed through their lines. They would then swarm the tank destroyer from the sides using grenades and Molotov cocktails. However, the actual losses inflicted by Soviet infantry remain disputed in after-action reports. On a different note, Heinz Guderian, prominent Panzer leader, expressed his dissatisfaction with the Ferdinand and similar failed designs, highlighting their lack of effective close-range protection against infantry assaults. Furthermore, the Ferdinand suffered from various other mechanical failures, including gas line fires, which added to its operational challenges. Damage to the tracks or suspension nullified the armor's protection, requiring crews to dismount for repairs. Furthermore, the vehicle's substantial weight posed challenges when it came to towing the disabled vehicle. Recovering a single Ferdinand from the battlefield necessitated the use of at least 4 of the 20-ton tank transporters. This recovery operation was only feasible when the Germans were on the offensive. Consequently, many immobilized Ferdinands that only required minor repairs were left behind and lost, as they could not be retrieved during the later stages of the Kursk battle. In many cases, the crews of these vehicles resorted to destroying them deliberately to prevent them from falling into enemy hands. After the Kursk campaign, approximately 50 Ferdinands were still in battle-worthy condition. Despite their challenging experiences, these had a significant impact on the battlefield. German reports indicated that Ferdinands had successfully taken out over 500 enemy tanks and hundreds of other vehicles and weapon systems during their service. Although the reports may be biased, cutting the stated numbers in half still results in an exceptional kill-loss ratio. After realizing that the Ferdinands were largely disastrous, they were sent back to Germany for upgrades. Despite this, Germany continued to waste more resources in an attempt to salvage and rectify this fundamentally flawed design. The upgrades encompassed thicker armor, a machine gun, and a commander's cupola. Despite these modifications, there were no substantial engine upgrades. The vehicle is now renamed as Elefant, and its weight increased to 70 tons, further exacerbating its existing performance limitations. In response to the Anzio landings in 1944, the first 11 upgraded tank destroyers were hastily deployed to Italy, where they served effectively. However, their combat effectiveness was limited by the challenging mountainous roads, bridges, and terrain in the Italian theater of operations. The rest of the Elefant vehicles were dispatched to the Eastern Front and engaged in extensive combat in Ukraine throughout 1944. During their operations in both Italy and Ukraine, Elefant losses due to direct combat were relatively low. Again, the majority of losses were attributed to breakdowns and a shortage of spare parts. By the time of the Battle of Berlin, it is reported that only 2 Elephants remained operational. The Elefant is an iconic and truly impressive vehicle in specifications. It underwent significant adaptations from an ambitious project by Ferdinand Porsche to serve an entirely different role, and became renowned in its own right. With a limited initial production of only 90 units, Elephants remarkably accounted for a significant number of enemy tanks, guns, trucks, and purportedly even some aircraft. Their notable achievements in combat reflect their effectiveness as formidable tank destroyers. Still, the mechanical issues of the Elefant cannot be underestimated. Despite its fearsome reputation, the tank destroyer was burdened with its weight, consumed excessive fuel, suffered from underpowered engines, and faced significant mechanical unreliability. These drawbacks posed significant challenges and limitations on the battlefield. The Ferdinand, with an average kills per loss ratio of roughly 10-to-1, may have been the most successful mass-produced tank destroyer used throughout the war. However, its operational capability was significantly diminished due to poor mobility and mechanical unreliability. The Ferdinand's meme status is well-deserved, as it reflects more about the German mentality during that time, rather than solely its specific mechanical failures. Hitler was always in pursuit of the latest grand weapon that could promise a decisive victory, often overlooking practical ideas that might have been less flashy, but more effective in the long run.